Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pocket Edition panel. Thank you. And Windows 10. Let's not forget about Windows 10. I'm here with a bunch of the developers of Pocket Edition and the Windows 10 Edition version of the game. I'm Owen. So, we have Shogi, Michael, Jason, and Tommaso. And these guys work on bringing all the cool features and tweaking the game and making it as awesome as it is for you guys to play. So we thought what we do today is show off a demo of some of the new features coming to Pocket Edition and Windows 10. And then after we've shown off some of those features, we can maybe answer some questions which we sourced from Reddit over the past week. We've got loads of good questions, and I'm going to put those to the developers, and they can give their feedback on those. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Michael, who's going to show us off, show us the demo.
All right, so I thought we'd show off a little bit of the UI and start off with the skin packs, because we have the new skin pack, including the capes, to show off. So when we're choosing the skins here, if you have the iOS edition, you'll just be able to get these for free. It's a free purchase, or it's a code on Google Play, MINECON 2016. And as you can see, for each of the characters, we have the MINECON cape for this year, but also...
So basically, everyone here can go on to their edition of the game and download this pack for free.
That's right.
That's awesome.
And only for a limited time.
Right, and it will go away, so if you want them, you got to go get them.
Yeah.
So we have the previous year's capes as well. So I've worked on the UI quite a bit, so I wanted to show that off a little bit. One of the cool things about getting a chance to work on this game is having such an incredible specification of what the game should look like, because we have the Java edition, which is incredibly popular. And so the spec is living, and we can see how should it look. But we also have the Pocket edition, which is optimized for touch. So we had to try to build a UI infrastructure that would meet the challenges of both. And we've more or less completed that now. And in .16, you'll see a lot of new UI that uses that infrastructure. I can probably
choose your key.
Settings. Let's do one of the current ones.
Is this the first time we've put the capes into Pocket in Windows 10?
It is the first time we've had capes in Windows 10.
That's kind of cool. Nice.
And in Pocket as well. So I think I can do the settings. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So here's like an example of some of the UI that we built in this version. So we have all a lot of the options that used to be in Java edition are now exposed here, and we've kind of dressed it up nice, and it scales properly for small devices and large devices. And that's probably about all I'll say about that. But if you're interested more about that, I'll be around the show floor. Oh, I guess one other thing I'd point out is that the infrastructure behind this for what should the screen do is all the same, no matter if you're in Pocket Edition or desktop. And then it's all skinned through just data-driven programming. So in the future, you'll be able to change this too. And as a mod developer, you just completely change the UI, make new UI.
Cool. OK, so Jason, you're going to show us some of the actual gameplay features coming in 0.16.
Yeah. Everyone hear me? Yeah. OK. So one of the features we came up with for .16 is we got the ocean monuments added in. So I got a level here that should have one. So I'm going to drink some potions quickly so I can actually see. And if I remember correctly, there's a temple just over here. Let's get a little closer. You can see it a little better from above water, but we'll see it when we get closer here. Or I could cheat and fly, but... Swim faster, Steve.
It's Alex.
Alex, whichever one
You're just making it more dramatic as we approach it from a distance, so that's fine.
I can do a quick cheat.
Oh.
It's a developer build. So you can see you got the monument here, you got all the prismarine blocks are all in the game now. There should be some guardians swimming around. Generally they like to hang out down here somewhere. They were there. Where'd they go? I'm sure we'll find some.
So why was it important for us to bring ocean monuments into the game? Why is that something that we've got high up on the list of priorities to?
Well, other than the squids, there hasn't really been a lot to do in the water. So having the temples in here, there's actually some more, there should be guardians somewhere. think they didn't save out for some reason. But this is why 16 is not available yet. Let's go into
It just
creative.
kind of adds a lot, some life, I guess, to the oceans, which would normally be completely empty.
But
So
the temples are just really fun to explore as well. So they got these like gold rooms hidden out. So there's a gold room here. There should be some gold blocks in here. The guardians are fun. And, yeah, but
Not there.
there's gold.
The gold is there, yeah.
The gold is there. There's no guardians apparently, but let's get some guardians in here. Oh, we have the elder one as well. So let's get some.
Set some back. There you go.
See, if you're missing them, you just get some of your own. And then we got the elder guardians. So each of the monuments have 3 elder guardians scattered around, and lots of fun gameplay fighting these guys. Definitely a little more. You want to play and get very ready, get lots of potions and stuff ready before you kind of take on the temples. But they're a lot
and
of
when you
fun.
actually play this version for real, you won't have to dump your own guardians in.
Yes.
They should be there defending the temple.
They were there yesterday, honest. And then the other big gameplay feature we brought in is we got the Wither in this version. And I can almost guarantee I'm going to die. Let's get something to stand on here. So it's always fun to see a Wither in a village. So we've made a few changes to the Wither, and this one, as you can see, he's actually kind of summoning in. He's getting all ready for us to fight against him. And he's actually got a couple stages. He's got these blue skulls he fires at you. So I can hit that back at him. If I hit him, it'll actually paralyze him for a little bit. Ah, get away.
Really spooky stuff. From the
Yeah,
weather.
this guy's... We try to get a little more behavior on there. It kind of feels like a pretty good boss fight now, where he actually kind of flies around. If I did get him to half health, which is unlikely.
Hit him.
Ah, it's really, yeah. I knew that was going to happen.
Pretty soon, actually.
I knew I wasn't going to beat him. But, oh, the settings.
You're gonna need a ditch.
I need to get the settings screen. I can't get to it from here, can I?
No.
Oh,
Only out of game.
there. Let's do one quick thing. This will help.
Cool. So what other stuff have we added along with the Wither? I guess, are you going to reload him up? Or yeah, load the Wither back up, and then we can show off the next feature.
So we've, in addition to the Wither and the Ocean Temple, this release is going to have our first preview of the add-ons stuff that was shown this morning. So that's where anyone can go in and start changing actual behaviors and building up your own things. Those can actually go up onto your realm if you want to do that. So you can actually make a bunch of changes to the game, have your friends join your realm, they can see your changes. So if you want to have rideable chickens or exploding pigs, or Seth Bling did a demo of add-on that he made earlier today that had witches riding on the backs of wolves and husks that got bigger when they're in the sunlight and stuff like that. It was
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
So that'll be the first time people can really tweak the game, the Pocket and Windows 10 versions of the game, with their own kind of creations, basically.
Yeah, and the really exciting thing for me with the add-ons is that if you build an add-on, say for your iOS, you can actually play it on Amazon or Android or Windows 10 or any of those, and the add-on should work exactly the same on all the platforms.
Very cool. And we'll have more about the add-ons and the kind of more detailed information about how that works in a panel on Sunday, which Jason's going to be taking part in along with Michael. Yeah, cool.
So we can...
So what about we also bringing slash commands into this build, aren't we?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain a bit about how that might work?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, in this release we were adding sort of basic slash commands. There were like the top 24 that we had run into needs for across Education Edition, as well as community feedback. In this release we're going a little lightweight in the commands, so you won't be able to do like NBT. Since this is a developer panel, I'll explain why that is. The NBT data is basically a raw representation of what's stored inside of a block or an item or a mob, and it's very hamstringing to the development team for that to be exposed directly, because if you then make something and you use that data, we can't change it, or we have to later accommodate a sharpness 25 sword, because that's possible by changing the MBT directly. So we want to have a more controlled exposure of that, where we have the ability to change it without breaking your stuff. So that's our goal, and so you can look to future releases as we'll extend our basic slash commands to include functionality similar to NBT in a more controlled way that we can version and continue to keep working.
Cool. And the other big thing for 0.16 is the ability to upload and download your worlds to realms. So you can take a world you've been working on in single player, and you can take that and put it into a realm so you can play on it with your friends or continue to do things together, which is the big deal. I think people have been waiting for that for a long time. So.
And as I think Jason alluded to earlier, that includes add-ons. So if you've prepared a world with all your favorite add-ons, you can upload that to realms, and then all your friends can play with you there.
Cool. Okay. I mean, that was pretty snappy run through of the features from 0.16. So I think we can start answering some questions from the community if you guys would like that. Yeah. Cool. So over the past week, I asked Reddit to submit some questions for these guys, and I got some awesome responses, hundreds of responses, and we've kind of picked some of our favorites, and I've got them in a list here. There were loads of questions about add-ons, actually, specifically, and how they might work. But we're going to cover a lot of that stuff in the panel on Sunday. So for now, we're going to kind of skip to the other ones. But anyway, here we go. So the first question. Will there ever be a release of the Pocket Edition server software for those of us who want to host a server of their own, like in the PC edition? Shogi, what do you think?
So we have been working on that for quite a bit of time. We are actually using the dedicated server to power realms, but it needs some more polishing to be released to the public, because it doesn't have administration commands built in or a UI so you can actually execute it under Windows. So it will be coming sometime in the future. We still don't know when, but it's in the workings.
Okay, cool. Next question. Will Realms ever have moderator tools like an actual server? Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, Shogi kind of alluded to that, but we're adding that functionality gradually. In this .16 release, we have like basic op-de-op functionality that it wasn't there in the past, obviously, and we'll be continuing to expand that over time.
Cool.
Including we have game mode, I think, is also in 16, but.
It's on the infinite list of features that we add into the game, so yeah.
Right, but those are a high priority for us because there's no other way to do it in Realms otherwise, but to give you some mechanism in game.
Cool. Tommaso.
Yes.
Someone is wondering whether Realms will ever get a world generation options like on PC, and what are the challenges of us including the kind of features that you might get in the Java version when you generate the world?
World generation.
So like you mean the data, so like the settings to...
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were definitely thinking about that. We were also thinking about a new word generation entirely. So it depends on really whichever comes first. But yeah, we definitely want to have more settings on the word generation, because those are fun to play with and do like amplified words and stuff like that. Even though amplified words will probably kill your phone, and I don't recommend that. But yeah, probably.
Tell us about some of the world gen stuff that you want to build for Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about some of the world gen stuff you want to build for Pocket.
Oh, you mean the new one? Yeah, I mean that's something I was talking about on Reddit like often, but I wanted to try to build a new word generation that kind of uses better, like has a better progression over time, like so that there are basically there is more space underground, so we can finally do something more interesting with caves. And so we wanted to, the idea was to raise the sea level to like, I don't know, 96, something like that, so that, to have more biomes underground and more interesting stuff to do. And then the basic idea for me was to decouple split the heights generation from the biomes, so that it's not predictable anymore. Like, because there was the alpha generation in Java that used to be the heights generated the terrain. So like, but now it's kind of bit predictable. It feels like a theme park, the world. So I wanted to try fix that, and also have a progression where getting farther from the spawn, you get harder biomes. So like there are biomes that you need to be like in some enchantments or stuff like that to get in. But that I have no idea when that is going to happen, but or if ever. But yeah.
Okay, that was a very thorough answer, Tommaso. That was good. That's some good answering. Okay, will we be adding item dragging and dropping into Pocket Edition on Windows 10? So I guess it's a bit more like the PC edition where you can kind of pull stuff around. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, so right now, if you're familiar with Java, it's kind of a tap-tap model where with the mouse, you click once, you're picking it up, you click again to put it down. We've been experimenting with how that would work well in touch. It's the reason, or one of the reasons anyway, that we have a very simplified crafting experience on touch devices, is because it's really tedious to craft with a crafting grid and tap-tap gestures, especially when trying to grab more than one item out of a stack. So we've been experimenting with various models, including the idea that you'd be able to just put your finger down, hold it down, and drag something around. And if we got that working in a good way, we would then be able to unlock things like classic crafting on Pocket devices. And so we are thinking about that and experimenting, but we don't have an absolute plan yet.
Cool. Jason, some people are asking whether they'll be able to use their Mojang account as well as their Xbox Live accounts to log into Realms. Do you think that might ever happen?
Trying to remember what we agreed on. Yeah, that's probably unlikely to happen. So we've solidified around the Xbox Live account for all of the Pocket and other stuff account. Yeah, not close enough. Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty unlikely that we're going to ever pull in two. We don't want to. There's a lot of logistical issues of having two sign-in accounts and tying those together, getting it all working right. So we've kind of solidified around using the Xbox Live for all of our sign-ins across the Pocket SKUs.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, I mean, it's quite nice and convenient, but at the end of the day, it's going to get really confusing if you've got some people logging in with their old legacy accounts and some people with Xbox Live. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it'd be nice, but it actually ended up being really, really confusing. Anyway, Tommaso, is there a plan to increase the world height? And if you were going to increase the world height, what would be the issues and why would that be tricky?
Yeah, so there is that plan, but I don't know. It's happening soon, at least. We don't know how soon, but I was working on that the other day actually. So yeah, it would be really nice to increase the word height. I posted already on tweet. I already tweeted a bunch of screenshots of like 256 and actually 512. But that's, I mean, 512 is not really happening because it was killing everything. But yeah, the matter with 256 is that just we need to do that without doubling the amount of memory you need to run that. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. PC already has a bunch of methods to do that. So we're working on that. And yeah,
cool.
It should happen soon.
Okay, I'm going to read out this long question taken directly from Reddit. So the Pocket Edition GUI is convenient-ish for touch, but you've neutered controller use by refusing to put a switch into the options, not unlike your experimental hide GUI button. Put it under experimental and let it be what it is. It's 10 times better for controller users. 10 whole times. So, Michael, what's the deal? I mean, come on.
This is my favorite question.
10 times better. Come on, man.
Well, honestly, completely oversight. I would agree that the controller experience is better. We don't have a great deal of players who play controllers on like phones and tablets, but if you do that and you find that more useful, then great. We'll expose the feature. So I'll probably add it when I get back.
Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, we're still the UI we have now. At some point, we will actually unify the styles, and then that maybe will look better.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tommaso was bringing up is that we do have an intention over time to unify the style of the desktop and Pocket UIs, and getting the infrastructure that it's built on that I talked about earlier being unified was step one to that. So yeah, that would also be where it would become detected based on the device and the input devices.
Yeah, and another thing for me about that question is the recipe book. So we were considering to make something to make the game more friendly to a lot of platforms. Like the composing recipes is a problem Also, I don't know, on VR, because you cannot really pull off the headset every time to look on the internet, or in touch. And for example, on touch we have the problem where without the crafting grid, the freeform crafting grid, we don't really have an idea to how to make banners or fireworks and stuff like that. So what we wanted to do was to have Pocket was to have keep the current thing where you can just tap an item to have it composed into the crafting grid, but at the same time we wanted to also let people do it by hand if they want. So when that is in, it should be much better.
Yeah, and that's kind of a part of that unification of the Pocket experience and the desktop experience.
Yeah.
Cool. On that note, I mean, I've seen this question a lot. So basically, people are wondering when and if we'll be able to have some kind of cross-platform play between PC, console, Pocket, Windows 10. What do you think of that, Jason? Could that ever happen?
Yeah, well, we already have cross-platform play with Win 10, Android, Amazon, all that stuff. Ultimately, our goal is to let people play with all the same, like you're not missing features on different platforms. You want to basically have all the features that you love in Minecraft on every version of it, no matter what platform you want to play on.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it, if you could just all play together, and sometime in the future, that's the dream, basically. It'd be awesome. Okay, a bit more of a technical question. Will pistons be as fast as in PC, and will one-ticked sticky pistons leave their block behind? Tommaso.
I actually don't know even that much about Redstone. Let's ask Sugar, maybe that
I
guy
actually
down there.
know about this.
Shogi, okay, tell us, Shogi.
The implementation of piston is different in Pocket Edition. So I think they won't do that. Daniel is over there actually implemented the pistons. I can see him
Hey, Daniel.
but they won't do that. It was like an implementation quirk of the Java version, and we decided not to implement that because we actively have to introduce a bug into the code to make that work, and that slows on everything. But I think we added other kind of features that make all of the systems that were possible with that possible in Pocket. So it's a different subset of features in the end.
Who is responsible for putting the most bugs into the game? Is it you, Shogi?
Blame Soggy?
Blame Shogi? Okay. Okay, thank you for that. PC Minecraft has the ability to go back to older versions or snapshots. Could we have that ability in Pocket Edition Win 10?
It's unlikely. We are, for one, the app stores make that challenging. As we ship in the app stores, there's no mechanism to say that I want multiple versions of my app to be used. So you basically have to build it all into the app package, which become insurmountably large to download. And several of the platforms don't allow you to download executable code after the fact. So we couldn't do like the Java launcher and basically let you select your version and then launch it. The tech wouldn't work on at least iOS and most consoles. So probably not.
Okay. People are asking if we're going to get more commands than the 20 that we're getting in 0.16, more slash commands.
Well, I don't really know the plans about this, but I think there is like more coming. Like we start with a few commands for administration, and then we are going to add more. And of course, if we add new features, we will have new commands, as we have been doing in PC.
That's right, and we also are considering the way in which, as I talked about MBT earlier, we're considering the way in which the add-ons work that we've done might meet slash commands and build some new powerful commands that allow you to manipulate things in the same ways that add-ons do. But we haven't finalized our plans around that or timeline.
Sounds cool. Can you list all 20 slash commands coming in 0.16? See how many you can get through. Shogi.
Slash help. And that gives you everything.
That was amazing.
Actually, do you want me to show the commands on the screen?
Actually, we have the autocomplete will answer that question for us if we're still projecting.
Okay.
All
right, so
It doesn't show all of them.
Even better, we have all the debug and testing commands actually still in this build that you're looking at. So those are the yellow ones. Those are not in the shipping build, but we use slash commands internally for testing as well. So we automate the game and run commands from a remote. So that basically when we deploy to an iPhone, for example, then we can issue a bunch of commands to it and basically make Steve walk around the world and make things happen and then check the results of those. And that's what all of these yellow slash commands that are listed here are for, is for that testing.
Okay.
But also one of the things we did, the slash commands, we got all the little autocomplete stuff in there as well, which kind of definitely helps you remember the esoteric string you might have to type at some point. So like if the slash give, is it not up there?
We
Can we
don't
see
have
that
it
on
on the
screen?
screen.
Sorry.
Can we get it on the screen?
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Like I knew like slash give P, and you can actually see all the stuff. So I'm like, oh, I wanted the golden armor. I don't remember exactly what that is. And I say, okay, it's golden chest plate. And I can hit like tab, and it'll hit it again, and I get golden chest plate. So you don't have to try to remember quite as much stuff. We try to have the app actually help you out a bunch there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I
mean,
guess
it's
that's
also,
extra convenient for people typing on their phones or iPads.
Yep,
or
definitely on the phone, super useful.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Another long question from the Reddit. Here we go. Why are you guys being so stubborn about the PC GUI in Pocket Edition? Initially, it was an 800-byte mod. Then it was implemented right into Block Launcher almost as an afterthought, not like something that needs intensive investigation to implement. What is the deal there, Michael?
I think it's the same question as the controller experience, really. As we talked about earlier, our intention is to unify these over time, but given the controller experience in the short term, having a switch to turn that on would be great, and it would have the side effect of doing precisely what's asked by this question, which is enabling it in any version. But the thing that's exciting to me is that the infrastructure under the hood to implement all of the screens, all the logic, the controllers for the UI, are all unified now, so you can skin it however you want, and we'll be able to do that in add-ons in the future. And that's what I've been working on for like a year, so it's nice to see that coming to fruition.
Cool. Okay. Another question. Here we go. One of the things that has been persistent in Minecraft Pocket Edition for a while is the despawn of friendly mobs. I know it is stated that just farm animals do it, but I've noticed my villages disappear too. This is quite frustrating for people who care about playing survival. We cannot build animal farms and expect them to be worth anything, and villages stop functioning. What's the plan to fix this? I know new features are great, but I would like to see some of the simpler things work better. Jason, that guy or girl is not happy. Come on.
Yeah, that's a bug that's obviously has been hanging out in the game for a little while. We did have to make a change a while ago where we discovered that every single animal mob was always saving, and it was bloating your save games to be significantly larger than they needed to be. So we did a pass on there to try to make it so that any interaction that you ever have with an animal would actually set them to try to save in that. Obviously, people are still encountering some bugs. This is a great way when you guys are hitting some of these things is to report these on, it was bugs.mojang.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Because basically, like, we keep trying to find these things ourselves and look for them, but if we're not finding them, the 40 million people playing Pocket are going to find them, and please let us know when you see those kind of things.
Yeah, cool. Will there be mouse support for Pocket Edition? Mouse support.
So I also, before the UI, worked on the input system, and our goal was to basically make it input device independent so that the game is basically just responding to events. Like you send a jump event and the game will cause the player to jump. And then how that's mapped to an individual controller is a separate set of the code that we can easily extend for new input devices. And that enabled things like gaze gesture and voice in HoloLens to be a way to control the game. It's just to show it's not simply mouse, keyboard, and controller and otherwise. But touch is what I was trying to think of. I lost track of the question.
Mouse support.
Mouse support, yeah. Yeah, so we on any device that we have, or type of device that could support an input device, we've been gradually implementing them. So for example, in iOS, there's no mouse support in the SDK, so we can't do it there. But Android does have it, and so we have partial mouse support in Android right now. Like the menus will work, but we didn't implement the mouse capture part, so they'd be able to, move around in game with mouse capture. So it's on my short list of game jams to code that up for Android. So probably yes, no timeline, but the underlying infrastructure basically supports us to have an arbitrary number of input devices, and just whatever input device you happen to be giving the game input with will switch to that input. I don't know if you've tried it on the surfaces, but if you just touch the screen, the touch controls appear. If you pick up a controller and give it controller input, the controller helpers appear, and it's our goal to make all input devices work on all platforms.
Cool. I guess if you had like mouse support on a tablet, you'd need a keyboard. Otherwise, you kind of holding the tablet with one hand and like.
It's true that mouse is not so good without a keyboard. You have to have some kind of secondary.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, when will stained glass come to Pocket Edition? I really want stained glass windows. My houses aren't dark enough without black stained glass. Tommaso, people really want stained glass. Why are you being so mean and holding back on these things?
They need their house to be darker. Is that a thing now?
Yeah, they want a kind of more moody ambiance in their house.
I see. Well, I mean, stained glass is one of the biggest things that's missing yet still, and the thing with stained glass is that if we just like drop the block there, it kind of works, but then it has glitches on how if you put different colors of stained glass one in front of the other, they will do weird things if you don't spend a lot of processing power to sort them correctly. So we just were putting off the problem of solving this, and but we'll probably do that soon, like not the version after, but it's a very interesting problem also, because if we do that correctly, we can also do that for trees, and then it could even make the game faster. So that's the hang up with stained glass. It's not very simple feature to add, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. It's misleadingly complex because it kind of looks simple.
Yeah, it's like
from my perspective,
it's just blocks. The blocks that don't do anything. You just add them, right? Yeah, not really. It's a massive feature, actually.
Okay. Okay, will Pocket/Windows 10 Edition receive an upgrade to the items when dropped? I think this person is referring to the kind of 3D spinning animation you might get on PC or console. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, it's one of the things we're definitely thinking about doing. One of the issues with it is it consumes more memory and more power on your device. So for the lower end phones and stuff, I don't think we'll probably ever have the 3D models on them. But for higher end, like the new iPad Pros and the Windows 10 version and stuff like that, I think it's definitely a feasible thing for us to look into.
Yeah. So it's just a performance question of performance, really, and where you want to put that performance. Cool. Shogi, you look like you're gearing up for an answer. He's ready. When will the items and blocks in Pocket Edition Windows 10 have the ability to stack up when dropped instead of being scattered all over the floor individually?
So that was an optimization made in PC, because items on the ground were taken individually and taken most of the time for taking chunks. I don't think we have that problem right now in Pocket. So I think it seems counterintuitive to have like an item flying around the ground and encountering like another item and getting absorbed into it. So I think like just flying, being individual items is okay. I don't know if we are actually planning to implement this, but I would like to rework it if it ever gets implemented. So stuff like that doesn't happen. Like transfer of inertia, like actual physics in Minecraft.
Okay. Will we get an option to change world sizes like on Xbox in Pocket Edition? Some people don't want an infinite world, but we don't want a small one either. Maybe a small, medium, and large world size option. That would be good. And also putting an ocean behind the barrier so it's not just blank like in old worlds. Shogi, what's the deal with world sizes?
Well, I don't know if we are going to have limited big worlds. but I think we have something called like block borders now, that maybe someone could add, like add into their worlds, like generate all of it, and then edit it to have it with other tools. I don't think there is a plan for it in games though.
I mean, also we'll port the actual PC borders at some point, which is pretty straightforward. And also I experimented with making a in-game border where the world literally ends and you just fall off and die. But I honestly discarded that because I thought that no one would care about not having the worlds be infinite. But if people care, that could even be an option, actually.
Yeah. The problem with that is that if you use the world border and then you go to the limit and say, oh, there is like a monument on the other side, then you feel like, oh no, now I want to make the world bigger. So we actually have to think a way to have like a big island as the world.
Yeah, one of the things, if you're playing the current Android beta, you probably noticed that the old style world's been removed from the UI, and I think after releasing that, the thinking behind it was that now that we've adjusted our min-spec platform, that they weren't needed anymore for a performance reason, which was the original reason they were still in there. But I think in hindsight, we're kind of realizing that we should probably put that option back in. So I suspect it will come back in pretty soon. And then maybe we can look at other choices. I don't think 16 will get any new things, but we'll certainly talk about it.
How do you guys kind of decide when you're going to kind of take an old, you kind of move the tech forward so old devices don't work with new things?
Actually, didn't fully hear that.
I'm just wondering, like, how do you make the choice of, okay, we need to add this new feature, but it might make some old devices not perform as well? Like,
yeah, we definitely want to try to avoid making devices not work.
Yeah.
So we really think we have hours and hours and hours of conversations whenever anything's going to affect it. Like when the last release came out, we did have to drop some of the really, really old Android and iOS devices, and there's, I don't know how many meetings we had about that. We probably spent 50 hours discussing about whether that was the right thing to do, and ultimately we decided we needed to in this case because there was some functionality that newer OS versions had that we needed to try to move the game forward.
Yeah.
But we never make those decisions lightly.
Of course. Okay, I have a question directed at Tommaso, straight at you, Tommaso, from the Reddit. How many bananas would it take for you to add armor stands?
To add what?
How many bananas?
How many bananas would it take for you to add armor stands to the game?
Armor stands. I don't know what the thing that, I don't know, I thank Mark Watson for this thing about bananas.
Say a number.
Say
a number.
I don't know. I don't even implement them. It's fine. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free.
You don't need, so zero bananas, basically.
Don't tweet me bananas. That's better.
Okay.
Tweet all the bananas to Tomo.
So one thing related to armor stands, and this is something where I think that we're not quite sure, like armor stands is obviously a very commonly requested thing from the community. And I think there's uncertainty from our side. Do people want armor stands because they want to be able to put helmets and stuff on it and just decorate their world, or do they want to do them for there's a lot of crazy things you can do in the Java version with NBT tags and stuff like that. So we're, as Michael alluded to earlier, with what we're going to do for NBT, we're not quite certain exactly what that's going to be right now. So if people purely want them just to decorate their worlds, we could actually get them in pretty quickly, but we're not sure if we want how much we need to take them to match Java.
Yeah, I think people are probably thinking of the more exotic things they can get up to, as opposed to just putting their stuff on them.
I mean, I think our current thinking is that those crazy things, you would do them with that thing that what Michael was saying about the command that can has the same powers as the add-ons, so like the ability of putting components on entities so you don't really need a dummy entity anymore because you can do whatever you want with the other ones already.
Yep.
So yeah,
But
maybe.
we don't have that solution yet.
No, we don't. So.
Okay, I mean, that's actually, we've got to the end of our questions. We could maybe take one or two from the audience. Would you like that? We've got 10 minutes. Okay, so, yeah. I'll attempt to pull this microphone from the stand and then walk around the audience. Okay. I feel a bit mean now because I can't. Okay, I'm just going to go to the first person I see.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay, you've got a sword, so you can.
Will you be adding elytras anytime soon in Pocket Edition?
Elytras, wings.
Elytra wings?
Yeah.
Well, elytra wings are dependent on us bringing in the end, but we'll definitely we plan to bring them in.
So, eventually it'll be there. Hi.
Hi. When will, or could you add command blocks at some point?
Command blocks.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be adding command blocks shortly. I won't announce an actual timeline, but it is actually already in development. But there's an important caveat there, which is that the slash commands that you can run right now are that same set of slash commands that we have added so far. And so the power of what you'd be able to do with a command block is going to be more limited than it is in Java at first. Eventually, presumably more powerful with the add-ons support that we add later.
Yep.
I think that the future for actually minigames is add-ons because they let you do everything without interacting with sticks and everything internal to Minecraft.
Would you be open to releasing some documentation on the protocol so that it makes it easier to update the open source
Which protocol?
hosting softwares until you release your own, of course?
You mean the network protocol?
Yeah.
So I think this is a question directed for me. So in the last release, we updated most of the protocol. We wrote big parts of it. I think there is a lot of information now in the binaries to automatically create a protocol. I was in contact with members of the community to give them more information if they can't figure it out, but usually they are quite fast now. There is also a lot of automated tools that people wrote that I also wrote, and they are still using those, and they wrote quite well. For official documentation, that seems, I don't know really.
Yeah.
Some source we have for information in the game itself is like the Minecraft wiki, which is not really official, I think. It's community-based, but we use it as well.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you make something official and public, then you kind of have to support it, but we're still a bit unhappy about how our multiplayer works, so we expect it to change a lot, right?
Yeah,
So-
I still plan to change it quite a bit more. It's going to improve as well.
Okay. Here you go. You were waiting patiently.
When will the end be added?
Oh,
When it's done?
Classic update answer from the developers. Hi.
So
But it's done soon.
I only got here a few minutes ago, so you may have already said this, but from what I've heard, the Pocket Edition add-ons are just JSON configuration. Why can't they just include code as well?
Is it code, you said? So actually, that's a pretty involved answer for that. We actually have a panel tomorrow, I think at 3:30, talking about add-ons and extensions and stuff like that Sarge and I are going to be doing, and we're going to dive into that question a lot.
yeah. So yeah, code is the JSON is just the data, but that doesn't mean that there isn't code. That's being worked on.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take 2 more questions, so I'll come over here. Here you go.
Do you guys have any plans to update the in-game controls on Pocket Edition?
Can you repeat?
Which kind of controls? The touch ones, controller ones?
Yeah, the touch ones, yeah.
I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, how you mean improve them? Like, what don't you like about it? Actually, I don't know. Yeah,
We've experimented with it. Tommaso refreshed it in what, 14 or 13?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah. In 13, and gave some more functionality. In 12, we added sneak and sprint, which weren't there before that. So it is an area that we always are, cognizant of making changes to. We've dreamed of wanting to do a D-pad that more is, vector directional, so it's not just buttons. getting the feel right and changing it for 40 million people is a little bit daunting. You know, we don't want to do that lightly. If we did, we want it to be obviously better that everybody would get. And so we've done some experiments, but nothing that we were willing to, you know, foist on all of you just yet.
Okay, I'm going to make this the last question. So who shall I pick? You. Yeah, here we go. No pressure. Last question.
I'm an avid player of both the main PC edition of the game and the Pocket edition of the game, and I've noticed some of the stuff that is currently in the Pocket edition that is not in the PC edition, but they aren't, like, as far as I know, I'm not sure how the development goes, but as far as I know, they're not things that could only be exclusive to the Pocket edition, such as the dyeable leather horse armor and the storing potions in cauldrons and the observer block. I was wondering if you know if those are ever going to be ported to the PC edition.
That's a good question.
I mean, if you were going.
So for the PC edition, we don't have a lot of control over what those guys do. It ultimately boils down to what features Jens wants to put into the PC one at the time. The goal is that we have the same features across all versions, and it really boils down to prioritization. So they have their releases, they have their specific features they're planning to put into the Java version. We have our features we put in, but we always talk back and forth between each other, and we make sure that whatever features we're pulling in could be in both versions. But we do have examples like the Husks and Strays, which just released, where that was one where we actually did it it was an experiment that was done in Pocket. The Java guys saw it, decided to put it in their release, and then we shipped it simultaneously in ours. So we're definitely kind of cross-pollinating each other, but it's just each project has their own needs and schedules and stuff like that, and that kind of determines when these things come in.
And then there are also some technical things like the water that it kind of relies on having advanced, like modern shaders. So PC really can't do that because of technical limitations.
Yeah, there are some of those.
But yeah.
Usually for each release, they go through the features that are in Pocket and not in PC and decide whether they have time to implement them or not, and if so, which ones.
Yep.
Cool.
But
well,
also,
yeah.
I think Jens ported a bunch of Pocket features for .11, but I don't want to spoil anything.
He did for 10. He did a ton of them in 10.
10 and 10, yeah.
He did the auto
10.
jumping and all that stuff.
Yeah, the auto jumping.
That's a 10.
If we out any 111 features in this panel, I get sacked. So let's not do that.
No, I don't think actually he did any of that. No.
No, good. Okay. I'm going to abruptly close down the panel before Tommaso talks anymore. So that's the end of the Pocket Edition panel. So thank you for coming. Hope you learned something. Cheers. And just to remind you that if you want to learn more about add-ons and the technical, the way they're made, that kind of stuff, Sunday afternoon there's a panel with Jason and Sarge. Thank you.